This video is going to be focusing on ARP. Now, ARP is the first slime you get in the game, free slime. It's really not the strongest by a good margin as far as pure stats go. So if we look at his base stats, even if I have him maxed out at level 200, we have 20,300 attack, 30,000 HP. And then like when we compare it to an S tier, double S tier slime or an S tier slime, they're just giving a lot more attack and HP, as well as like these unique level up skills. When you hit those certain milestones, you're just not getting as much attack and HP. So when compared to like Yolanda or even some of these paid slimes like Nepris and Chloris, he's never going to be super good and really on par as those other slimes, but he has a cool just couple of different things in his kit that I did just want to focus on here that can be important if you're just wanting to play around with him, just because for whatever reason you just want to see if you can beat a higher stage with ARP, or every once in a while they actually do run some league events where the only slime you can actually use is ARP. So even if you don't really plan on using ARP for anything else, whether you have Nepris or another paid slime, or you just want to use Yolanda, which is a much stronger slime than ARP, it still might be an okay idea to save some of those water slime stones in case you do enter a league, one of the leagues that require you to only use ARP. Because having ARP leveled up for that purpose can be very helpful, just because the league is important as far as getting free gems, those star essence, as well as those league tokens that can be used to get more artifacts for water element or whatever element you want through those artifact keys. So as far as his unique level up abilities, for level 10 we get 5% attack. Now this is a lot less, just kind of going and showing another one of these slimes. So like Yolanda, we're getting like 60% bonus attack, 80% bonus attack, but for ARP we're only getting 5% for his level 10 ability. Then at level 25 we get 10%. Then at level 50 we get plus 25% HP. So we are at least getting a good mixture of attack and HP. At level 75, 40% bonus critical damage. Again, not a ton, just because it really, when you factor in how much critical damage you're going to have, 40% isn't a lot. At level 100 we do get an extra 40% attack. So in total we're sitting, I believe, 55% bonus attack and then 25% bonus HP. So not near as much as you can get with other slimes, but still better than nothing. At a level 125, this is kind of a unique one, and one of them that is a little more important, is you get 30% bonus hit rate. Now this is a good chunk of hit rate, and one of the things that doesn't necessarily make ARP viable, but it's a unique thing in this kit that not a lot of other slimes have that bonus hit rate. So if I go and look at Yolanda does have only 20% bonus hit rate, and that's the only bonus hit rate she has in her kit. If you're looking at like a Nepris, I don't believe Nepris has any hit rate in his kit. So if your really only struggle is trying to hit enemies, whether it's in a later normal mode stage or a hard mode stage, having that bonus 30% hit rate can be kind of helpful, especially when paired with like the Thunder God set, just because you can get a lot of hit rate. I believe right now with my equipment and everything, ARP's sitting at 301% hit rate, so really shouldn't have any struggles hitting any enemies through stage 12. There might be some of those lizard guys that do occasionally miss on some of the attacks, but for the most part, ARP's going to be hitting most of his attacks. So as far as those later stages go, if you don't really have much in the way of hit rate runes or the Thunder God set, ARP can technically be an option. However, you would need your gear like really high leveled up, other really good runes in order to actually complete a stage. So most of the time this really isn't gonna be, it's not gonna suddenly make him super playable and a game changer, but something to just be aware of. It's kind of interesting. The level 150 ability in slime battle, all slimes in battle gain increased damage dealt to normal enemies 10% times the number of slimes in battle. So you're going to get 10% bonus damage to normal enemies in normal mode. But if you are in hard mode, you're going to be able, because you have two slimes in play, you're actually going to get a 20% bonus damage bonus to normal enemies. Now this is only to normal enemies. This doesn't apply to elites or bosses. but can be a little just helpful as far as clearing those regular waves. At the level 175, we get 35% bonus critical chance. Now again, this is actually a good chunk of critical chance. When we go and compare, I mean, some of these other characters actually don't have any bonus critical chance. So the ability to be able to deal critical hits on most, if not all of your attacks is very crucial, especially with the recent update they added with critical resistance. So some enemies might have critical resistance and be harder to deal critical damage to. So the fact that you can really, without any other critical chance buffs or equipment, I'm at 96% critical chance with ARP. So ARP is, I mean, once again, this isn't going to be a game changer, but the ability to hit all the enemies and actually deal critical damage very often are a couple of just helpful mechanics within ARP's kit. Now, as level 200 ability, the second just passive ability, so damage dealt is increased by 5% times the number of slimes in battle. So if you're doing normal mode, you only have one slime, you're going to get a 5% damage bonus. If you are in hard mode, you're going to get a 10% damage bonus because you do have 2 slimes in battle. So you're going to get an increased damage as well as reduction in damage taken. So this is nice because it helps your slimes output more damage, as well as just reduces the damage now taken by your slime. One thing to note, this doesn't factor in, like, this isn't going to show up in either our damage resistance or our extra damage resistance stats. So you can see right here, I'm at 80% damage resistance, 6% extra damage resistance. When I go and hop into the battle, neither of these stats are going to change. I'm still at 80% and 6% respectively, but when it is something that you'll actually be able to notice in gameplay if you go and compare and contrast, I guess, before and after using ARP versus another slime, as far as how much damage you're taking, providing everything else is kind of remaining the same. Now, jumping over to that, so as far as the damage bonus, we can actually see this a little better. So if I'm going to go back to stage 8, and right now I'm using Chloris, and then I'm using Yamlet. So if I'm going to slow down the battle speed here, and then we're just going to try and kind of see how much damage we're doing. You got to differentiate a little between Chloris's and Yamlet's attacks, but we are seeing some 80 million, 72, 100 million right there. But if we go and then we're going to swap over, so we're actually going to sub out Yamlet, but we're going to be keeping in, we're going to sub out Yamlet for ARP, and then we're going to keep in Chloris. And so hopefully what we should see is we're dealing a little more damage. So we got 77, 79, 113, 121. So we are definitely getting more damage with ARP in the battle. It's just kind of hard to see because you really do have to look carefully and compare how much damage is actually being dealt per attack and differentiating between the two slimes. But that additional damage reduction for your slime and then damage buff for your slimes as well, it can help in hard mode in certain instances, but it's really not going to just be a game changer. Really, overall, like Yolanda and Yamlet, if you're free to play, are going to be really helpful. Or if you're using paid slimes, Chloris, Nepris, and then Yamlet are still going to be very popular for hard mode. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. I mean, if there's any interest down the road, I might just do a couple of fun videos showing ARP beating later stages just for kicks.